This week on Today's Homeowner, we're uncovering 8 easy decorating tips and checking out some projects that will put them into practice. I might even learn the difference between mauve and salmon. Hey, we really enjoy all of the feedback that we get from you on exactly what you would like to see here on the show. We're getting a lot of emails about show us a few easy decorating tips. That's what we'll do this week. 8 great decorating tips that we've gathered from some pretty cool homeowners and some great experts. One of those experts is Marisa Smith, a registered interior designer who works with homeowners to maximize the beauty and function of their homes. Today, she's showing me a built-in bookcase she transformed for one of her clients. Well, this is just a real comfortable living area. I'm sure the family spends a lot of time here, but what did you start with here? Obviously, built-in bookcases.
We had the bookcases to start with, and they were white, and they had a huge TV that was in this cabinet. And the main thing was they wanted to go to a flat screen. So the main change that we made was simply taking out the stiles on both sides and a little upper part of this cabinet, and then painting it. And it made all the difference in the world to have this pocket for the big TV, and that has become wonderful storage for everything else that needs to be behind doors.
Well, that's a great idea, but so many times people will paint the cabinetry like this the same as the doors or the trim, and it kind of stands out a little bit too much, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. And the problem in this room is the cabinetry is so big and it covers the entire wall that for it to be white, when you walked in the room, it just jumped out at you.
Right.
And you don't want to walk in the room and see any one particular thing really jump out at you. You want the whole room to feel like it has harmony,
right,
so that everything in it is comfortable. So to do that, we were able to just really tone down the color by going with something warm that complements the walls. So now you notice the things that are on it instead of the big white glare at the end of the room.
And that's the first tip, camouflage with color. That has to be a challenge and also a talent to be able to choose a color like that, because when you look at this color against that, I mean, certainly they're compatible, but they're kind of close in a lot of ways.
They are, and it takes just working with different paint colors to see what's in harmony. A lot of times if you'll use a fan deck, they make it easy for you because they show you on the strip the colors that will work together. And you can choose a lighter one for one area and a darker for the other, and then you know the colors are compatible without actually blindly just selecting different colors that might clash.
How do you go about kind of deciding on how much to put in an area like this? Because I've been in places where it's just wall to wall, just packed, almost like it's going to fall over on the floor. How do you approach just the quantity that you use in a situation like this?
Well, the easy way to do it is to take everything off the shelves, because you're right, most people have way too many things, too many little cluttery things that have collected over the years, and they don't even realize how much stuff is actually on their shelves.
Right.
So if you take everything off and then slowly begin to put things on, you can see how it needs to balance. You want to have a nice mix of color, a nice mix of books with some accessories, but not every shelf filled and every spot filled.
And there's the next tip. Sometimes less is more. Now, while Marisa is schooling me on interior design, Alan is meeting with a homeowner who's pretty handy in this area herself. Diane Jones has done a wonderful job decorating her home, but she has one challenge she hasn't figured out yet.
So this is the room in question. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
But what's wrong with it?
Well, in the mornings, especially when we're reading the paper on the sofa, there's a glare that comes in, a reflection, so we have to close the drapes, which I like open all the time.
Sure.
And then a little bit of a privacy issue from the outside into the den.
All right, so we want to keep it open. We don't want to block it off.
Right.
Just want to obscure it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What if I told you we could take that nice glass door and make it look like etched glass?
Oh, that sounds perfect.
That work?
Yes.
Okay, let's do
Perfect.
that.
Alan's solution is a window film designed to look like etched glass. And this material will let Diane take advantage of our third tip, which is make the most of natural light. The process for this window film is pretty simple. You mix up a mild soap and water solution, spray it on the glass, and then carefully apply the pre-cut film. Then using a credit card, you slowly force out all of the air bubbles out to the edges. This etched glass pattern will eliminate the glare and give Diane the privacy she wants without having to block the daylight with curtains. With her choice of pattern, she's also tapped in to another great decorating tip: repeat a pattern.
Being a guy, you probably didn't even notice the wall art in the room. And it has a border. No, it's just a guy thing.
Oh.
And it has a border that matches this.
Now, while Alan and Diane finish the other door and admire the great change they've made to this room,
Oh, that looks wonderful. Just wonderful.
let's check in with Joe for a simple solution that's ready-made for home decorating.
One of the quickest and easiest ways to decorate a room is to hang framed photographs and artwork. In this case, there were 2 paintings here, and I'm going to replace them with one larger one, and I'll come back and patch those holes later. But I want to show you a quick and easy way to make a mark and put in the nail exactly where you need it. First, hold up the painting where you'd like it, say right there. Then take a pencil and make a mark along the very top edge of the frame, right in the middle. Okay, now take it down, and with a tape measure, hook onto the wire and pull it tight and measure to the top edge of the frame. This will be a reference point that matches the mark we made on the wall. In this case, it's 3 1/4 inches. Now all you need to do is measure down 3 1/4 inches from the pencil line, make a mark, and drive in your nail, and the picture will be exactly where you want it.
Hey, this week we're looking at 8 easy decorating tips to make the most out of the interior of your house. Now, earlier we talked with designer Marissa Smith, and she showed us a great project, but now she's about to show us how she made a big difference to a small room in this house. I just love all the texture here in the foyer.
The clients love it instead of another pattern.
Pretty cool. Hey, how cozy is this? This is a great little, I guess, TV room, huh?
Isn't this nice?
Yeah, really nice. And what motivated this? What did the homeowners want to achieve out of this?
Well, they wanted a room that 3 or 4 of them could comfortably sit and watch TV, and because it was such a small space, they had just a few small pieces of furniture. And so it wasn't comfortable, you know, to be able to relax.
Right.
And so we came in and actually put a really long sofa with a chaise,
I like
which
this.
allowed you to seat 4 people comfortably. And it filled up the entire wall instead of just one chair there and one chair here.
Yeah, I love the lights. Tell me about these.
Oh, these lamps are great for reading or watching TV. You see it's on
Yeah,
exactly,
there you go.
and you can move it around. So if you want to sit over here and read, you can just bring the light to you.
That's pretty cool. And then overhead lights, you got some recessed, and then I guess the accent light for the painting.
Yes, and that makes it really nice at night. So when you're watching TV, you can turn all the overhead lights off and just have the artwork softly lit and have the rope light on so you don't get a glare while you're trying to watch TV.
Yeah, I think that versatility with lighting is pretty cool when you can have the different moods. Like I say, we've got it pretty bright in here right now, but to be able to tone it down, because some people like a little more light than others. I guess you found that out.
Right, that's true. But lighting can make or break the entire space. And the trick to it is that you just want to have different levels of lighting and in different areas. You know, some overhead, some down low, some lamp lighting. But by having things everywhere, it gives you options.
Sure,
you can
sure.
have more on, less on.
Yeah, that's great. This is a good feel. What about all this? Was this here or was this added?
This was already here, but we painted this one actually the same color as the trim and the walls. And when you have a small space like this, the more you can unify it and not have it all broken up with, say, white trim and white cabinets, it makes the room feel a little bigger and more open. So actually everything in here is painted the same color, and then we made the fabric on the sofa the same color, so visually it all feels like a bigger space.
There's another great tip. Maximize a small space by unifying the colors. Now, as you can see, your furniture selections make a big impact on design. So I'm stopping by the showroom of another designer, Augusta Tapia, to talk about how she approaches that with homeowners and our next tip, select a signature piece. Boy, I'll tell you, I just love your showroom. I had no idea there was so much stuff to choose from for the house.
Oh, absolutely. We have to keep a good selection because you know these wives, they're picky and they want lots of lamps to choose from. They want beautiful pillows and mirrors and lots of accessories. So we try to keep a lot of those things that are special for them.
I just think about the challenges you must have when you go out to someone's home, and of course everybody has different taste, and then you're bound to run into someone that just has something that they can't get rid of. Maybe it's a family piece, sentimental piece, or just something that they recently bought. How do you design around that?
You have to take special pieces like that into consideration when you design a room, and sometimes it's not necessarily finding the place in the room that it's currently located, it's finding the correct room in the house for it to go in, where it has the best use and goes with the decor in that particular room. So working around a signature piece is always a really challenging thing, but a good thing. And you have to remember that the furniture finishes in a room don't all have to match. You can use dark wood pieces of furniture with lighter wood pieces. Actually blending things is much more interesting than you trying to think that you have to match everything.
Well, that would be the first thing that I would think of is, you know, if you're using this in a room, you got to have something over there, the end table or whatever, that matches it. And you're saying just the opposite.
An eclectic look is really good. I mean, that makes people happy to be able to do something that's a little bit different than what their friends have. And when you blend things together, you get that special look, which is really good.
And maybe you don't get tired of it as much. Because you hear people say, you know, I have the same old thing, it's kind of boring. But with throwing a little bit of an eclectic kind of a feel to it, I guess you like it a lot longer.
And things like that give you the opportunity to be able to rearrange your house periodically, which makes it be a lot more interesting, and you don't get tired of things as easily.
Well, I can't wait to talk to my wife and impress her with all this knowledge that I now have about interior design. And I'm gonna keep looking around a little bit here while I do that. Check out this week's Best New Product.
Now, I love it when there are products out there that really make me look like the designer I am not at times, but I also like it when there are products out there that help me be organized when I really don't want to be. Take a look at Martha Stewart Living collection here. Now, she's got a nice collection of these cube organizers, but take a look at this. This is also a new design. It's like a little bench here that is perfect for a mudroom or your child's bedroom. Again, it comes with a nice little fabric drawers. And what's so neat is that, again, you could put anything down in there like books or sporting equipment, but if you want smaller things to be organized, or you've got papers, or you just want to kind of out of sight, out of mind, you can put it right here in this fabric drawer, and then right here on the label, you can write what's in there, and then simply tuck it back into place. And ta-da, it's all organized, it looks nice and neat, and look at all the different colors you have to choose from when you're trying to pick out your fabric drawer, so it can go with any decor in your house. Again, I love it when they take care of two of my problems all at the same time.
This week we're uncovering 8 easy decorating tips, and once again, designer Marisa Smith is sharing some of hers from a project she recently completed. Well, this is another very comfortable room. Tell me what took place in here.
Well, with this room, the client actually had all of the bare bones. You know, they had the sofa and the love seat and the rug, but it wasn't accessorized, so the room didn't look finished at all. And so this one is a little different than the last one we went to with the bookcases that were over accessorized.
Right.
This room was actually empty.
Right, yeah. I see a lot of kitchens that way where the countertops are just packed, and you go, wait a minute, you don't even have a place to put a plate around here.
Exactly.
So that seems. Now, what about selection of different things? It's always unusual to me that, of course, candles always work well, but I guess it's a lot to do with personality of the folks that live in the house in terms of the different things that you may choose. How do you go about that?
Well, you want to find out what the homeowner really enjoys having around them. For example, this particular client loves to collect boxes, and these are boxes they've collected from around the world. You can see they're old and they have character. So something like this may not appeal to you in your house if you're not a box collector. So it depends on what the person who lives here enjoys. Obviously, this client loves plants.
Right.
He has a green thumb, and they really enjoy having plants everywhere. Plants are an inexpensive and really great way to accessorize a room, and it cleans the oxygen which is a nice bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, of course, family pictures are always great. And I know, you know, various areas of the room, people can overdo that a lot though too. You know, you start putting pictures and stacking one behind the other, and after a while that can really be a big cluttered place.
That's true, that's true. And the big thing with pictures in a space is you don't ever want to see the back of the frame.
Right.
So as you enter the room from either direction, make sure that wherever you've placed that picture, someone isn't walking in looking at the back of it.
I got you. Makes sense. Well, like I say, another good job here.
Well, thank you.
Meanwhile, Alan is helping out a friend, John Paul, with a project designed to use molding to add interest to a bathroom mirror. It's a great example of yet another easy decorating tip. Use contrast to add interest.
Okay, so this is the mirror in question.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, we looked at some molding earlier. What did you have in mind?
Well, I think that maybe we'll just keep as much of the mirror as we can.
Right.
Then put the molding so that it's up against here
Right.
and down against
Right.
here.
What we have, we'll cut off a little bit of the mirror since it's all the way up against this trim here. Now, when we put it on, let me ask you this. We've got enough to wrap the entire mirror. What do you think, even though we don't have it in the rest of the house, it might work though with these little, they call it either plinth blocks or little rosettes in the corners, all four corners, and we could butt the molding up to it, or run the molding all the way around and just 45 it.
I like the idea of those corners.
The corners, okay. Now, are we painting or staining it?
I think we'll stain it, and what we'd like to do is get a color that would match the fixture here.
Okay, like a burnished bronze?
Yeah.
All right, probably almost an ebony that we're going to have to get for that. Okay, well, let's make this happen.
Very good.
To get just the right shade of stain, Alan is mixing a chestnut color with an ebony. Although this will complement the faucet on the vanity, it will add contrast to the wall, which is primarily lighter colors. If you're trying this project yourself, be sure to stain both sides of the molding so no bare wood is reflected in the mirror. And while you're at it, here's another free tip. Don't set the stain container on your workpiece. Don't use glass containers.
That was our mix.
By using the corner blocks, Alan and John Paul will be able to make simple square cuts on the molding so it fits between them. A two-part epoxy applied to the back of each piece will hold it in place, but wherever they can, they added a finish nail or two to secure them while the epoxy dries. After a little colored putty to mask the nail holes, the work is done.
All right, well, what do you think, John Paul?
I think that looks great.
I like the choice of the color that you did there to bring out that instead of the walls or the
Exactly,
I think it'd been too much if you went with white.
Oh, definitely would have been too much with the white.
Simple.
I thought we would
Inexpensive.
lose some mirror, but we still have the same.
Oh yeah.
amount of
Yeah.
mirror.
Yeah, I think you may have lost maybe an inch
Yeah.
up top. A little bit on the bottom, but the bottom doesn't matter as much as the top.
Well, I'm shrinking as I get older.
You just stoop.
Howard asks, I'm repainting my house, but I'm not sure what kind of paint was originally used. Can I use latex over oil, or should it be the other way around?
Now that's a great question, but before we answer the question, we have to determine exactly what kind of paint you have on your woodwork right now. Here's an easy way to determine that. First of all, take some denatured alcohol, put it on a rag, wipe the woodwork, and if any paint comes off on the rag, then you have latex paint. Now you never want to paint oil over latex, it just won't stick. But you can paint latex over oil-based paint if you prepare the surface properly. First of all, take a little bit of sandpaper and just lightly sand it. Then you want to use some trisodium phosphate or TSP. You can find it at any paint store or home center. Then after that dries, use a good bonding primer. Put one coat of primer on it. After that dries, you're ready to finish up the paint job and you'll know that it'll last. If decorating is on your to-do list, I hope you've been taking notes on our 8 easy decorating tips. If not, here they are one more time. If you can't move it or hide it, camouflage it with color. Remember, sometimes less is more. Whenever you can, make the most of natural light and tie it all together by repeating a pattern. You can maximize a small space by unifying the colors and simplify your choices by selecting a signature piece. If your room is ho-hum, remember, accessories make the difference. And finally, don't be afraid to use contrast to add interest. Hey, I hope you picked up something that you can use at your house. And remember, it's your place. Make it uniquely your own. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.
Together, especially like this right here. Now I'm over at the Martha Stewart living section.